Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to build in Bloxburg. So on screen now, I'm showing you just a couple of the builds that I've done recently. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to start building from scratch. We're going to start with exterior, then move on to interior. So let's begin. So first of all, when people are first building their house, you'll often see them do something like this. They'll build just a complete box house. This is no way to start a home. So my first tip is to use shape when building a house. So rather than doing a flat wall like this all along the front, instead add different indents into the house. So for example, you could do a little shape like this at the front, but also when you're going along the side, just add little extra bits in. And you can literally be as crazy as you want with these shapes, guys. And a really good piece of advice is to always build your house far away from the road so you have room for a nice big driveway or front garden. So you're also going to want to add indents in the wall on the top of the house. And then when you're building on the top of the house, you don't have to completely outline what you did before. You can leave certain parts and make it a bit smaller. And then when you go to add the roofs, you can do some pretty cool stuff. But before we get to roofs, the next thing that can really help when building is using pillars. So when you're using pillars, you can either stack them on top of each other like this, or you can get the resize tool over here and make it one big thing. So for some builds, this will look a lot better, but for today's example, I'm going to be using these. Now, some good textures that I recommend is either wood, which it comes with, or second best is concrete. And then you're going to want to add pillars around the house like this, but you're not going to want to add them in like every corner because that sort of ruins the house. So just add them at the key areas of the house. And that is a really simple way just to add a little bit of structure to the home. So the next thing you're going to want to do when building exterior is to use something called wall trims. Now, as you can see, there's a whole variety down here. And my best advice is to actually match the color to the pillars. And then with these, you place them all around the house. But something that really can be a game changer for a house is the roof. So my advice is to never ever use a flat roof like this. That should be obvious. The only time I would recommend using a flat roof is if you're going to resize it up like this, so it's like a sort of suburban vibe, but never just do a flat roof like that. Now, a good thing to do with roofs is actually mix and match. So my personal favorite is to mix a gable roof with a mansard roof. And don't forget, you guys, you can actually resize roofs too. And if you did what I did and left bits in your house, my personal favorite is this slanted roof, and you can do that everywhere. And then one last thing that a lot of people forget to add to their roofs are chimneys. My personal favorite is this one. So you can add this anywhere on your roof. Personally, I think this one looks good here. But anyway, now you've got the really basic structure of your house, it's time to add windows. So as you can see, there is a lot of windows, but really there's actually more than meets the eye. For example, this is a window. You can completely transform this window into a different one. For example, if you resize it, then that is a completely different and custom window. But just remember, you can do this with every window, even the most modern ones. However, for this build, I'm just going to use the standard traditional ones. So that leads me on to the next thing, which is do not do this. Do not go and place 1,000 windows on every single wall. And I know I'm one to talk about this because my houses have so many windows, but especially on a smaller house like this, there just really is no need. So of course you can have some walls which have a lot of windows on them like this, but then don't go and add a bunch down here because it's just too many. And also, if you've got a house like mine, then it looks really good if you make it symmetrical like this. But anyway, so just be wary of how many windows you're placing. And there we go. Once you've added windows, it starts to look a lot more like a house. Now, doors are very self-explanatory, but if I were you, I would match the style of the doors with the style of the window. For example, this is a traditional window. So I'll go and search up traditional and it will come up with all of the traditional doors. But anyway, then you're going to want to color the house. So my advice is not just to do one color for the whole house. As you can see, this just looks pretty plain and not very imaginative at all. Instead, maybe consider doing half of the walls one color and then the other half a different color. And as you can see, this just adds a little bit more depth and texture to the house. And then with the roofs, my personal favorite textures are the groutless bricks, the rough stone bricks, the symmetrical bricks, or the roof tiles. And then make sure to match the front of the roof with the walls. So the last piece of advice for the exterior section is to do a front garden. So some people enjoy putting fences around their house. You could use small ones like this, or you could add massive big ones like this. Then you're going to want to add a pathway up to your front door. And something I love to do is actually add striped grass. So how you do this is you select the texture grass, then you color one a light green and another one a darker green, and then you just place them next to each other together, and as you can see, it creates a really cool pattern. Then you can use other fences to block off your pathway. You can obviously go into the garden section and add some plants, and if you want to, you can also be really fancy and add some trees. And then on the other side, you could add something different, like a picnic area, for example. A lot of people forget to decorate the front garden. And now it is finally time for you to move into the interior of your build. So before you start getting really excited and going and placing down loads of furniture for your living room, you're actually going to want to build the layout of your house first, because trust me, it gets so complicated otherwise. But not only this, consider where you want the stairs to go. For example, I've made a little space here for the stairs in this house, and add them in as soon as you can. Then on the same note as that, also add the doors in early on, just because it makes it easier for the next thing that I'm about to tell you. And that is to actually use paintings as wallpaper in your house. So there's two ways to use paintings. First of all, you can just chuck paintings straight on the wall, or you can add wall trims down first and then add paintings just on top of them for a more fancy vibe. Now obviously this looks rubbish, but let me show you how to actually make these wallpapers. So if you're doing the full wall ones, I would advise using some sort of panels. So you're just going to search up wall panels, and as you can see, there is such a big variety. My favorite is these ones, and once you've used it once, it will come up in your images. And then the second way to do it is above a wall trim, and I'd advise using just normal wallpaper on these ones, for example this grey wallpaper. And once you've got the decal on there, then you can copy and paste it, and it's already going to have the pattern on there for you. My next advice is to actually spice up your floorings. So rather than just doing this in every room and making the floor boring, try doing some cool patterns. For example, you could do a checkered floor a little bit like this, and then for example's sake, I'm going to add wallpaper into the entryway just to show you how it can be transformed, and just look at how nice this looks. Anyway, my next tip to make rooms inside more detailed is to use structural items. And so in here we have many different beams, my favorite being traditional. And as you can see, if we use this room over here, for example, all you have to do is add a beam, color it. You can add this beam wherever you want to. So you can do a really simple roofing style like this, or you can be really fancy and add them all along here. So it's just a small detail, but it's a really helpful one. Anyway, my next piece of advice for the interior is to decide which room is going to be what. So in my house, I know this is going to be the porch, the entryway, the bathroom, the living room, the office, the kitchen, the dining room, and the chill area. And it's really good just to mark out which room is which, so the layout of the house actually makes sense. And then if we're going to move upstairs, this is where my next piece of advice comes in. If you've got a big entryway like mine, always make it 2 stories. So first of all, you're going to want to make the layout of the upstairs of your house, and then you're going to want to add the flooring. And as you can see, I've left a gap so that the entryway is actually 2 stories high. So just to finish this off, you're going to want to add some fences that match the stairs, and then this gives you room to add a massive chandelier. And personally, I think this looks so nice in fancy houses. And just in case you're curious, the floor plan for upstairs is bathroom, bedroom, bedroom, closet, bedroom, bedroom, bathroom. So there we have it. That was my very simple guide on how to build in Bloxburg. So hopefully some of these helped you, and I'll see you all in the next video.